a lot of really, really blessed parts, wonderful parts, and it goes through incredibly excruciating challenges as well. Things that are painful, that are impossible to understand. And it's easy to sort of lapse into a thought that somehow God is sending this bad thing as a test. Like the bad thing is coming our way. It's going to be how we're tested to see whether we're faithful or not. And that just is not the way God functions. And the example I would use just with our own lives before I read you a little thought on it here. If you're in a loving relationship with a loving partner, you're not going to figure out ways to test them just to see how much they love you. And if you love your kids, you're not going to figure out ways to test them to see how much they love you. I mean, that would be weird, for lack of a better word. It just isn't how love works. Like love is not interested in testing. Love is interested in supporting and connecting. And that doesn't mean that, we can't feel like we're tested and that there aren't tests as part of things. I mean, there are obviously, but it's not that God's got a checklist and he's sending them down from on high. Life will have moments that are very testing. And God is with us through that all. That's sort of the moral of the story, hopping right to the end of it. So let's take a look at a passage here. And we're going to start the story here of Abraham, and he gets this what appears to be this crazy ask about it to get rid of his son. And we're going to look at that. We're going to look at it from a Christian New Church perspective, which is that it's not what he's really being asked. That there's a deeper truth underneath it, and it starts with this idea that God doesn't test anyone. So here's the line. This is from the book Secrets of Heaven. To speak in harmony with the inner meaning, in other words, the poetic sense of this story, is to say that God never tests anyone. At such times, and here we're talking about times of hardship, at such times he is constantly delivering us from our struggles, so far as he can, which is to say, so far as freeing us does no harm. At the same time, he's constantly focusing on the goodness to which he can lead us when we are being tested. Otherwise, he would never consent to it. So it's kind of this beautiful kind of two-part to it, which is really interesting. That idea of here's the harm, and that God is constantly trying to pull us out of its most dire consequences. And it's aren't that there aren't dire consequences. It's just the force is always to try to pull us away from that as best it can. And it's also this focusing on the goodness. And the focusing on the goodness doesn't mean that it focuses on like this problem being solved all the time, or that we will overcome it. It's just God's constantly saying, like, the Mr. Rogers thing of look for the helpers. It's that constant endeavor for looking for the helpers, for making sure that there are helpers in our life, for making sure that there is compassion in our lives. Even in the most challenging of circumstances, most people, I would hope, get to experience at least a little bit of that compassion from others. And it may not be across the board. It may not be from the people we would most want it to be from, but it does tend to show up. There does tend to be this beautiful piece of compassion and thoughtfulness that shows up. And that's the focus on the goodness. Like that's where God's constant endeavor is. And again, like I don't understand all the whys and wherefores of like why life has some of the challenges it does. It has some challenges that no doubt some of you who are watching this are going through right now that are so hard to kind of figure out. I'm like, why would this be happening? And kind of juxtapose it with the idea of a loving God. It's hard sometimes. And yet when we, again, look for the helpers, when we get that God's not going to ever test us, like that's not the point. We'll go through tests, and that God's heart is always there loving right beside us. I think that's much more the way God would have us hold it. And just imagine, I think parenting, right? Parenting is a great example. Our kids will go through tests and trials and really difficult times. And what's our job as a parent? Well, our job as a parent is at the base level is just to know that they always have this foundation of love from their parents, that love is unconditional, it's going nowhere. It may be a love that gets expressed in direction or helping them out in a certain way, but that the love itself is just beyond question. And again, it's never that we would test our kids, just to see how they shore up. Like, please don't do that, And And God doesn't do that either. I mean, our love for our kids is just a tiny, teeny, inty beatsy little reflection of God's huge love for humanity. And I think, that to me is a way to understand God not testing, God focusing on the good, helping to pull us out of these dark situations as best as he can, given our need for absolute freedom at all times. So I hope that makes sense, friends, and I hope, I hope that we can just hold on to that this week. Again, that idea God tests no one. And with that, what we're going to do now is we're going to shift gears. When we shift gears at New Church Live, what we do is we take a little breath, we listen to a prayer bell, we do a little prayer, do a little blessing, and then we'll say hi to folks on Facebook. So with that, dear friends, let's get a little breath. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, bring you home. Amen. All right, dear friends. Now excuse my averted gaze, and I flip over here to say hi to folks who are saying hello to us on Facebook. See if we have any notes over there. Marcus, good morning to you, buddy. Great to see you. And wonderful job by your son on Sunday, by the way. As you know, his son played drums. His young son played drums for us at New Church Live on Sunday, which was wonderful. Sharon, great to have you joining us as well. I hope you have a great week ahead for yourself. And now flipping on over to here. And let's see. Good morning from Sanibel with high school friends, Julie and Therese. Oh, Sanibel. I love Sanibel Island, Patty. Been there many times. It is beautiful, and I hope it's all repaired. I know they had a couple hurricanes go through. So great to see you joining us there, Patty. Martha, good morning to you, and I hope you're doing well, my friend. Linda, good morning to you. I hope you're doing well as well. It was nice doing that Sunday dinner. The monthly Sunday dinner with our small group was sure fun. All right, dear friends. Well, listen, God bless. Have a wonderful, wonderful week of, it's not a test. It's